show, I'd like to talk to you about it. We are willing to put your show on our air. Here are the stipulations. Your show has to be good for everyone. Okay? And when I mean it's good for everyone, I'm not talking about the way that a lot of people think that it's good for everyone, you know, as long as you're in one group of people. Okay, this is we're looking for things. We're looking for people with ideas who can really make an impact in other people's lives. So if you have an idea for a show and you would like to get a hold of us, QR code up in the corner is the best way to do that. That's my For My Card. For My Card is one of our community pay it forward fundraising partners, one of our great partners. You'll see the wonderful card that I've created. I'm working to defunk my card. I put a little bit too much information on it, so I'm looking to undo all the clutter and do it a little bit better. We're doing all this because next year is going to be a big year for us. Starting at the beginning of the year, we are going to be introducing the mobile app. We've got a mobile app that's coming up. The students at Arizona State University are working with us. They're creating a mobile app that's going to just maximize the program, and it's going to make it so much easier to help other people, to support other people, just by simply shopping with our wonderful partners. So be looking for us. The first part of next year, it's going to change Community Pay It Forward, and it's going to hopefully change a lot of people's lives. So we need you to join us. We need to make sure that you understand what's going on. If you need a little bit of help navigating what Community Pay It Forward is, I invite you. Again, you got my calendar. Get on our calendar. Let's talk. Let's make sure that you see what's going on. Let's make sure you understand, because we have all these wonderful programs that work with us. And all you have to do is simply shop with our partners. That's it. Shop with our partners, and then you get to go and you get to pick organizations that you want to support. And how do you do that? You do that by very simply turning in your receipt from your purchase. Wonderful organizations like Confronting Domestic Violence. At Confronting Domestic Violence, our mission is to provide real-time resources to abused families, including relocation services to help parents and children reach safety. We're committed to giving at-risk families a real chance to escape dangerous situations. You can support Confronting Domestic Violence by our simple program Shop, Click, and Pick. Shop with any giving partner. Click a picture of your receipt and pick Confronting Domestic Violence by scanning this QR code or visiting communitypayitforward.us and search by their name. Confronting Domestic Violence and Community Pay It Forward. No one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Sorry about that. Again, it's a very, very simple program. You shop with any of our partners. You click a picture of the receipt or the invoice they give you, and then you choose who you want to support and send us a receipt. And you can, take the credit for yourself. Say, you know what? I want to support an organization like Confronting Domestic Violence. I want to support other organizations, or I want to support other families. Our program is built to help people who are going through difficult times. I know I'm saying this, and most of you who are listening to this have already heard my story, probably ad nauseum. But just in case there's somebody out there who hasn't heard it, 10 years ago, I was run off the road on my motorcycle. I was left in a ditch for over 7 hours. I ended up with a fractured skull, a busted up face, and a broken neck. Yes, that's right. I had a busted up face, and they could have done anything with my face, and they gave me back the one that I've been ruining for 47 years at the time. No, I'm sorry, it was 3 years. 43 years at the time. I guess if it was 10 years ago. So, but yeah, they, could have made me look like anybody. They made me look like me. Come on. Really? Anyway, getting past all that. And one of the hardest things that I had to go through, there were two parts of that that were extremely difficult for me. One, when I was told by the people who were supposed to be there to support individuals in tough times that I wasn't eligible for their services because I, quote unquote, made too much money the previous year. Look, there is absolutely no doubt about this statement. Their calculations are wrong. Okay. Even with the job that I had where I made decent money, but not enough for a family of four. It was hard to do anything. Okay. So we were still under the government explanation of poverty limit. Okay. Yet we did not make enough money, or we made too much money. Sorry, I made too much money to get the assistance the previous year. I don't know how many of you who have been injured or even had anything that happened negative to your body, the stresses that come along with paying bills that are overdue, eating dinner, feeding your family, getting your kids to school, being able to do things for your kids, whatever. The stresses about that are terrible. Okay. And they do damage to your body, they do damage to your soul, your mind, everything. It makes it very, very difficult to heal. Okay. When I started Community Pay It Forward, I wanted to make sure that we were also providing resources. And I've had some conversations with some wonderful people the last couple of days, and I made sure that they understood that one of the greatest things that we are doing is we are putting together a group of people who offer resources to people all over the globe, from sea to shining sea, from country to country to continent. We want to make it to where somebody can say, hey, I've got a big issue. I've got so and so that's in this place that needs help with dinner. Can anybody help? And we can come together as a society, as a group. We can come together, and sorry about all the noise, damn alerts. We can come together as a group of individuals and we can find assistance for people everywhere. We're in a state of technology where social media, we're connected to people better than we've ever been connected. We're connected to people we don't want to be connected to. Let's be honest. Go through your friends list. How many people, well, yeah, I remember that person, I guess, I mean, they were okay. Hey, we had a couple beers together, but, I don't know if we're friends. I don't know if we're acquaintance. I don't even really know the person. We've got people like that. And those people are so important to this because they could be the conduit. They could be the reason why we are able to take and connect with somebody in an area that can help feed a family or help a family after a tragic incident like they're dealing with in out east, the southeast part of the country right now. By the way, just a real quick, switch here. If you scan this QR code for the next week and you attach any of the Community Pay It Forward giving partners, if you attach their receipt to this QR code, it is going to help our friend Holly Miller as she is trying to get basic toiletries to people in the affected areas, okay, through doTERRA. So Holly Miller, this is our community pay it for community dare to care QR code. Okay, we ask you to go on ahead and scan this code whenever you want, if you want to choose this code, because this code helps us take in food, take in clothing, take in stuff like that, and make sure that we have it available for people when they need it. We never charge for clothes. We never charge for anything that is life critical needs. If it's donated to us, we want to get it into the hands of the people who need it. Okay, that's it. We want it to get into the hands of the people who need it. It's important that we do this because we've got to make sure that people have somewhere to go. It's ridiculous that there are people out there who have nowhere to go. There's resources out there. Let's talk about these resources together. You can join us here on the pACT channel. You can join us on Community Impact, and you can come on and talk about some of these smaller nonprofits that are out there that are doing wonderful, wonderful things. Bring them on with you. I want to tell people about them. I want people to know that they're out there. That resource is so important. And if people are saying, I wish I knew about you before, ... It's devastating to small businesses, to large businesses, to nonprofits. It's devastating because they're doing everything they can to get the word out there. If you've ever said to yourself, and any person who supports a small nonprofit has said this to themselves, I don't understand why people don't know about you. Here is your chance. Come on to Community Impact. Let's talk about these nonprofits. Let's get their word out there. Money runs the world. We know this. Everybody knows this. Okay? It's very important to donate. The next best thing, and something that I think can be even more important, is telling their story, telling people that they're out there. There are people out there right now that are sending money towards the end of the year. They're sending money into these big organizations because they don't know what's in their own community. Okay? Everyone knows the big players in the nonprofit world. Everybody knows about them. Small story here, and I'm going to name names here. You guys have heard me talk about going to some of the big box stores, and they ask you to round up to the nearest dollar and give it to insert big name organization here. Well, once again, 14-cent donation to some of these big organizations, whatever. They're going to find a use for 14 cents, okay? One of the Walmarts here in Greeley on 47th Avenue and 10th, they had a wonderful organization that we worked with for a long time. Literally a block behind them. Literally a block behind them was the Avery Center. Imagine how much more the Avery Center could have done with that 14 cents if they would have done their due diligence and known that a block away from them is a small organization that they could have helped. Let's make that noise and make sure people are hearing about them. Okay, so anyway, back to my story again. Any attached receipt for the next week is going to Holly Miller to support the people who have been affected by the storms. After my accident, I kind of forgot where I was there for a second, which, Yeah, let's be honest. Head injury plays a lot into that, but I wasn't that bright to begin with. So, I mean, it is what it is. But anyway, after the accident, I had the stressors of trying to get stuff done. You've got doctors telling you need to not, you need to relax. You need to be patient. You need to, rest. You need to do this. You've got to relax. You got to relax. You got to relax. Yet every day you're told, we don't have electricity now because you decided to pay rent instead. Okay, well, this month we've got electricity and we've got the car payment in, but now we got late fees on the rent. Here comes the gas company to turn off the gas. Or you're out of fuel in your car, so good thing you've got a car payment. Ain't no money for gas in the damn car. You cannot heal that way. Community Pay It Forward was born to make a change there. You make a purchase, you're helping support people who are in that situation. It takes a little time. I'm not going to lie to you. I wish we were set up to where we can say, hey, you know what? We got a family over here that if we give them $40, we can get their lights turned on. We can get their kids to school. Let's just give them $40. It's done and over with. But that's not our program. I'm not in a position where I can do that. It's just not feasible. But instead of going to one of the big organizations to get a website built, if you use one of our website builders, or use anybody like we'll just say our good friend Trevor Gibbs, to build mobile apps and stuff, you use him, utilize his service instantly, just by being a little bit pickier on where you do your shopping. You're making a donation to somebody. You could have made a donation to your neighbor who slipped and fell and broke their leg. They can't go to work for 6 to 8 weeks. The bills don't stop, but the paychecks do. And if the paychecks don't stop and they've got injury insurance, they only get 60% of 40 hours. My job, I was working 70 hours a week. 70 hours a week. I was making more in 1 week than I now make on disability for an entire month. Yeah. Reason 2 why I do this. And this is the reason for the Cub Club. The Community Dare to Care Cub Club. My son, my youngest boy, had a chance to go to Germany, Switzerland, and Austria with his German club. He earned that trip. He worked his butt off for that trip. But I was laid up. Somebody ran me off the road. What could I do, The school comes to me and they tell me, well, you can make payments. And of course, being the optimist that I am, that's almost funny. I would say, yeah, let me think about it. Let me see what I can do. Knowing it's not a chance in the world. Oob didn't get to go on that trip. And I'm going to tell you right now, I would go through that accident every day for the rest of my life. Just to have been able to send him on that trip. Just to be able to tell him, you know what? I am so proud of what you have done. I'm so proud of who you are and who you've become. All the hard work that you did. You belong in Germany. You belong in Switzerland. You belong in Austria. You belong to go and see these countries that are our forefathers, our ancestry. We're from that area. You deserve to go and see that. I would give anything. Matter of fact, let's be honest here. Everybody has a bucket list. That is my bucket list. To get my son to go, we'll do a family trip. We'll go over there. Of course, I got to be on a ship. I can't be in a plane. Cabin pressure won't. I can't be in a place with the cabin pressure. So that hurt. It hurt me a lot. But now, these kids, they earn a trip. I always get the kickback, so I always have to say this. Your kids work their butts off and they win a trip to Washington, D.C. I don't give a damn who the president is at that time. If your child wins a chance, earns that chance to go to the president, go to the White House, by God, they should be able to go, because that is something special. And it doesn't matter who's the leader of the free world right there. They may not even remember, but they will know that they were in a place that is America. They were in a place, they earned it, and it'll incentivize their learning. It'll keep them driving towards other things. It doesn't matter. I've said it forever. There's a lot of problems with our government, but we never take that out on our kids. If our kids earn something like that trip, by God, they ought to be able to go to it. So any of you parents who are sitting there and saying, well, I was going to send my kid, but my kid's not going to go to the White House with this person in it. Stop. You're hurting your child. You think you're making a statement, but you're hurting your child. If your kid's good at football, makes it to the Super Bowl, and he decides, or she decides, doing whatever she does, she decides that, I'm not going to go and be celebrated by this president, that is fine. Let them decide. But if they earn a trip to go with their class, if they busted their butt to do this, and they earn a trip, let them go. Believe me, I would do anything to go back in time and allow my kid that chance to go on that trip. I came up with one of the foundations of the company when I was working with the Darringtons. And we decided we were going to do this fun little thing. We took our cue off Facebook. Rania, she found this post, and it was funny. And the post said, hey, you know what? Give me a like and give me a share. And, when I get to whatever it was, I'll break an egg over my head. And so we decided, you know what? This is going to be fun. So we decided, you know what? Get us to $50. And we're going to donate the money to someone else. Get us to 50. And you can meet us at this day, at this time, at the Windjammer. Myself, Logan, Rania, and two other people that will remain nameless. Lisa Miller, God rest you. We miss you. And Jerry Clayton. Oh, wait, I said I wasn't going to say their names. I'm sorry. They chickened out. Thank God we had Rania's daughter who stepped up and she went in and she literally took it on the head for us. But we got to the $50. We got the 50 likes, the 50 shares in 3 minutes. It was amazing. We didn't even have a chance to start discussing who we were going to give the money to, and we had the money that quick. So we make a little bit of a change. Just changing the system. We say, you know what? You get this to $100 and we'll draw the five names of people. 5 different names, and each person gets to take and crack an egg over someone's head. Took a little bit longer than 3 minutes. It took 7. All right. And we had the $100. Still didn't even know who we were going to donate to. But we just kept the rest secret until the day came. And it was 30 days later. It was a really quick put together event. And we ended up taking and finding out, who the person was going to be, who was going to receive the funds. And what we did is we took and the 4 of us, because we had 2 chickens, Lisa, father, who will remain nameless, Lisa, father. We ended up bringing in 3 cases of eggs, 3 of the big cases. Okay. If we would have known egg prices were going to be what they were, or what they are right now, we would have sold the eggs and we would have made this family millions instead of, breaking them over our head. Hindsight. But instead, what we did very simply was this. We sat there and we said, you know what, you guys did great. Now let's just do it this way. $1 an egg, you come, you bust it over our head. In a total of 45 minutes worth of work. 45, and I'm getting to the point of the story, and I know this is a little drawn out and long, but please bear with me. In a total of 45 minutes worth of work. Believe me, it seemed a lot longer. It seemed like I was in that chair for about 4 hours. You don't know what uncomfort is until you've got egg gut dripping into your ear, in your eyelids, up your nose, on your mustache, in your beard. I know, ladies, it's terrible to think about your mustache and beard being covered in egg. On your tongue, because you just go to try to breathe and you're like, I'm a fat guy. I love omelets. I couldn't eat an omelet for a month after this. 45 minutes. We ended up raising $789 for this family who had just lost their daughter to leukemia. Total of 45 minutes worth of work. That was it. And the dad came up to me, and the dad gave me the energy to really put my all into this when he asked me one simple question. And that question is a question that we should ask ourselves every day. Okay, the dad asked me this question. He goes, why? Why the F did you do this when you don't even know me? And I looked at that dad this day. It wasn't prepared. It wasn't anything, but I looked at him that day and I answered him very simply. And I said, look, brother, I don't need to know who you are. I don't need to know that, I don't need to know anything. I just need to know that you need help. And we can try to find a way to help you. I don't need to know who you are to want to help. I just need to know that you need the help. And that is the reason why Community Pay It Forward has started. So now you know the three of the reasons why I started this goofy thing. My first thought was I was going to get into event planning. Very sorry, I've been feeling that for a little while. I was going to get into event planning, and it was something that I was working hard on. I was sitting there and I was thinking about this and thinking about all the things that I could do because of all my experience with other events. And I stopped and I started to think about it. And I was like, man, you just wasted that 3 minutes of all those thoughts about event planning because you don't like people enough to be an event planner. So we went away from trying to think about being an event planner and we created Community Pay It Forward. We being me and my 3 other personalities right there. Now we've grown into something special and we're asking people to join us. Join our team, join our family. There's many ways that you can join us as a community partner, as a giving partner, as a mission partner, as a sponsorship partner. So many ways that you can join us. Once again, let me change it back. This QR code right here is the easiest way to get a hold of me. I'll send you the information, and you can find out how you fit best in our program. We're going to get going here in a minute with communities or with Common Sense Access, but I want to tell you about a very special event we have coming up in December to battle depression, to battle the heavy thoughts that we all feel during December. It's a miracle of a community that cares. Okay, this is a little video that explains a little bit about it, okay? This holiday season, as the world celebrates in so many ways, some families are facing it apart, feeling the weight of loneliness. At a miracle of a community that cares, we are creating a space where everyone, regardless of faith or background, can share in the joy of this wonderful season. Join Santa and leaders from all walks of life for stories, special shout-outs, and heartfelt messages from loved ones near and far. Children are taking the lead with art and fun, helping us bring the gift of books to children everywhere. Children in hospitals, children to families of all faiths, and to fortify traditions of families. This season, let's come together as a global community, one that cares, one that gives, and one that embraces all cultures, part of the miracle. Join us from December 24th to December 26th, and let's make this season unforgettable for everyone. Hey everyone, it's Zach, introducing a special edition to Miracle of a Community That Cares event, where award-winning children's author and community Pay It Forward giving partner Maggie Van Galen is generously donating 3 of her beloved books and 1 hour virtual authors meeting valued at over $175. You know us, we're going to do things a little bit different. Maggie will personally read these heartwarming stories during the event. You could be the solo sponsor of this read. Tickets are just $20, and the winning ticket holder will be announced December 21st at noon East. Don't miss a chance to make a meaningful impact this holiday season, and get your tickets now by scanning the QR code or visiting us at communitypayitforward.us. When the form opens up, this is what it'll look like. Scroll down to the Make a Donation, Purchase a Ticket, or Become a Sponsor section. Get involved how it best suits you. Tickets can be bought by selecting the last option of this section. Thank you for supporting a miracle of a community that cares. Right here, you'll see the 3 books that somebody's going to walk away with for a small $20 donation. Okay, you're going to tell us what to do with these books. Are we going to send them to you so you can give them to your kids? Maggie has signed each book. Or signed one. Yeah, right here. Maggie signed each book. I was like, I know I saw signatures in there. Am I just talking out my butt? Maggie signed each book, so each book has a message from the author. Plus, if you choose to take and donate these books to your hospital in your local town, what we ask you to do is we ask you to do like this individual did and write your information up here up top, from the Smith family, and then write the word "to" underneath it. A nurse can now take this book, and when they have a child in their pediatric ward, a child that's scared, a child that's going through something that they don't want to go through, something that they're not ready for, their poor little bodies are just not ready for it, they can take this book, they can write their name in it, they can give them this book. They'll have this book as a memento, knowing that someone in the community cares enough about them to get them a gift. You and I may see it as a book, This is something that this kid's going to carry around for a long, long time. Every time that this kid opens it and sees the Smith family, they may never know who you are, but they know that you are out there and you cared enough to support them. So, what we asked you to do, scan this QR code. Okay, once you scan this QR code, you're going to tell us exactly how you would like to support Community Pay It Forward, and one of the options can be entering to win the 1 hour solo sponsor as Maggie reads her 3 books in the Adventures of Keno and Ernest series. You will also win these 3 copies, these 3 autographed copies of these books. Again, you tell us to find a hospital for them, send them to you so you can give them to your kids, give them to a family in need. These books are yours. We do with them what you ask us to do. But the most important thing is when you win, if we draw your name on December 21st, you are going to, we're going to record you as you read or you talk and you introduce Maggie Van Galen. You do that. From the Smith family, this is Maggie Van Galen reading her books. We want to thank everyone in the world for all the work you do and wish everyone the best. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you want to say, as long as it's positive. You win. You tell us what to do here. Woo. You throw stuff around and you make a difference. Then we record you one last time as you say, we want to thank Maggie Van Galen for reading her books. And again, thank you to all the people who are out there. Have a wonderful, holiday season. Please be safe. Please know you're loved. It's up to you, okay? But that hour is yours as a sponsor. So $20, it's the last thing you can bid on in this QR code. Just go in there, you give us your $20, you become a sponsor of the show. Everyone who sends us $20, and I'm sorry for spitting on the mic there, everyone who sends us $20 will be listed on the website as somebody who entered. So you will get a little we'll give you something for supporting what we're doing. We also need sponsors. We need volunteers. We need people to help us out. Okay. So please get involved. When we return, we will bring you our series in accessibility. Okay. And this is a really, really good episode. This one's a little bit longer, but it's well worth it because this is one that talks about, this one is the one that talks about myths and things that you've heard, some that are crazy and some that are understandable misconceptions. Some of them are really crazy, I'm going to tell you right now. So, but anyway, when we return, we will be talking about this. But first, coming up a week from Sunday is the Chili Cook-Off and book drive here in Greeley, Colorado. If you're anywhere in the world and you can hear my voice, get to Denver and I'll come and pick you up from DIA. Whoever said ignorance is bliss never
Everybody,
ran a
exactly.
business. Did you know the vast majority of businesses don't make their products accessible to people with disabilities? And did you know that the collective buying power of people with disabilities is over $2 trillion? And if you're a business owner, you need to know how to make your business accessible so you're not leaving this money on the table. I want to tell you about my family partners at Real Life Access, who can help you connect with this underserved market. Real Life Access clients experience three amazing things. First, a reputation for accessibility that brings customers to your door. Second, a freedom of worry about legal consequences from not being ADA compliant. And third, increased revenue. Real Life Access team members offer common sense accessibility solutions which won't break your budget. These are business people who understand the challenges faced by all small businesses. They are also people with disabilities who know what it takes to be accessible. Check out their courses, coaching packages, and so much more at reallifeaccess.com. You'll be glad you did. Everybody, it's Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the pACT channels joining us again. Our fourth episode. Boy, we're just knocking these ones out of Common Sense Access with the founder of Real Life Access, Angela Fowler, and the co-founder of Pieces of Me, Daniel Hodges. How are you both doing?
Well, rather is it incongruous? Incongruent? What's the word, Dan?
Depends on the context.
Well, the context is I have a sweater on and I'm on the beach.
Yeah, that's definitely incongruent.
Incongruent.
Although,
okay,
you know, when I took my ex-wife on a trip to San Diego in June, I somehow literally had to buy her a sweater to be on the beach. So maybe it's not.
Well, okay. Well, but there's a reason for that. Now, as professionals, you know, we're always working to up our game, right? And my game, my tools do not include the ability to produce stunning visuals and camera work and things without, you know, some sort of coaching, assistance, you know, luck, winning the lottery, you know, whatever. So I was told last week, I said, you by my very kind business coach. I mean, just one of the sweetest people. But she's very kind and very straightforward at the same time, right? So she's like, now, Angela, I say this in love. I want you to look your most professional for this upcoming corporate launch. You really need to get your dresser out of your background.
Yeah.
So yeah. I said, yeah, you know what, Kathleen, you're right. So I've been experimenting with virtual backgrounds, and I said, you know what, I want to be on the beach right now. So I just put myself on the beach, and then Zach pointed out, you know, you are on the beach, you're wearing a sweater, this looks incongruent. So I said, you know what, I'm going with it.
Yeah, let's be honest with some of the weather we've got going on in the, you know, Gulf of Mexico right now. The beaches aren't exactly what they're supposed to be. Okay, so I don't think that there's anybody who's going to blame anybody for wearing sweaters or scuba gear or any of that right at this moment. So
that's what I should have done.
Yeah.
Scuba gear? I should have got some scuba gear.
So our topic today is one that really should be interesting to a lot of people, because this is dealing with a lot of the myths. Some of them are ones that are understandable, and then some of them are just flat out ridiculous. But they're true myths that certain people have. These are things that people truly do think. as ridiculous as they are, there's misconceptions out there that this is the way it is. So,
And
Angela, why don't you get us started?
well, the first myth. Now this now we've got 6 myths here. Three of them are going to be, when you think about it, yeah, understandable, even though they might seem ridiculous on the surface to someone who's been blind all their life. We've got 3 that are really kind of out there. So we're going to alternate. Now, Zach, do you have the email I sent you with the list of myths?
Yeah. And
Okay.
the first is, if you don't see a disability, it doesn't exist.
Gotta see it to believe it.
Right.
And I'm totally blind. I also have a significant hearing loss. And people can see the fact that I'm blind. It's obvious. I have a long white cane, I wear dark glasses, all the things that you might, associate with being blind. But nobody can see that I'm hard of hearing. So people, a lot more understanding about the whole blindness thing without me having to explain. But when it comes to hearing, it takes some explaining. I really have to explain to people, hey, look, I can't hear. I'm not trying to be rude. If you talk to me and I don't respond, I'm really not being a jerk. I probably just didn't hear what you're saying. So it's not, for me, I'm also on the other side of it too, because if I don't have a reminder that something is a thing, then sometimes I just go, through life like the wrecking ball that I am, and I don't consider it as much as I should. So, Dan, do you want to take a stab at this as well?
Absolutely. And, like Angela, I have a visible disability, blindness, as well as an invisible disability, connective tissue disorder, which comes with chronic pain and chronic fatigue. And, you know, the other issue we run into in that situation is you get misattribution. So, for example, when I'm dealing with vertigo, as I have been for the last few days, it's really easy. Oh, well, you're blind. Maybe you're disoriented because of that. No, actually, those are 2 totally separate matters. And the reason we want to bring this up beyond just our stories is because, statistically speaking, the majority of disabilities that are out there are non-visible or non-obvious. So when people go out there and they have an image of a person with disability in their mind, that can often exclude a good chunk of the population, and it could lead to some really uncomfortable and counterproductive encounters. Basically people saying, "Hey, why are you parking in that that handicapped spot when you look perfectly fine to me?" Well, okay, maybe that person appears to be perfectly fine. You don't know if they've got 5 pounds of titanium in their body and holding their back or their legs together. It's not apparent.
And
And
sometimes it's not a matter of necessarily of strength, but a matter of stamina, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other thing too is, we think of disabilities as being consistent, and sometimes they are, most of the time they're not.
I, with my hearing loss, in which being completely deaf in my right ear, there's a lot of that vertigo, a lot of that losing balance, a lot of that, just there's all kinds of things that, I deal with. Plus, I've also got the metal in my legs. I've got, metal everywhere else. There's a lot of times, I'll park in the handicap spot. If I'm not feeling well, I'll use that. I'll utilize that, and I'll get out, and people will just be thinking, oh, look at this guy. You're right. And it's like, wait a minute, you don't know what I'm dealing with. Okay.
Exactly.
You don't know. Just because I don't physically look like I've got an issue. You don't see that I don't have a human ankle. you know
Yeah.
yeah, I've got a metal rod where my ankle used to be. All these other things, and yeah, I that is one thing that people don't understand, that no, just because it doesn't show doesn't mean it's not there.
And the other side of that, as somebody with a visible disability, which isn't, you know, physical in the sense of it's sensory, not physical.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have been at various times in my life pressured to get a handicap placard and park in the handicap spot for the convenience of other people. And I'm like, no, I don't, one thing, I don't need it. For another thing, I don't want it. And for another thing, no.
Yeah.
So you can't, you can't tell. You can't now, this is not to say that there aren't people that take advantage of the system, because there are.
Oh, absolutely.
But you can't tell. You can't tell the difference by looking. You may think you can, but really you can't.
And really and truly, the good that could be accomplished by ferreting out the few that game the system, in my mind, is vastly overshadowed by the harm that is done by just really negative encounters with people who, again, have those non-obvious disabilities, don't really want to be parking in that spot to begin with, but have to do so by virtue of pain and fatigue. The last thing we want to deal with is somebody else who has maybe the best of intentions, but has just made the whole thing that much more difficult to deal with. That's really, truly, it's just the potential good is significantly outweighed by the harm.
And no, nobody likes you know, nobody likes that person. That person that's always going around policing other people's behavior.
Oh, yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
just, just, just chill.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it is. It's. Let me ask you this: if somebody were to come up to you and they go, well, why are you utilizing this? I don't even think you're truly, you even truly got this affliction. That makes somebody feel like, well, okay, why am I getting yelled at for being who I am, right?
Yeah.
I like, let's put it this way, Angela and Daniel, you guys can both, once again, you both know that you can tell that you are blind. So there is no doubt about it that you've got the physical, or the sensory, like you said, disability of no sight. But if somebody tells you, well, that's it, I mean, you can't drive anyway, why the hell do you need the placard? But there are other reasons to maybe need that placard. It's not just that you're blind. It's not just that, you're going to roll up in your van and park in a handicap spot.
Yeah, and Zach, I don't know about you, but we're both guys who have middle in our feet and legs. I've got middle in both feet, middle in both femurs, and there's going to be more coming later. And I don't know about you, but there's always been that tendency to say, well, is it worth it to go through the hassle of parking here, or should I just tough this out? Should I just grit my teeth? Should I just, tune out the pain? And the last thing we need after we finally cross that point where we're able to accept that it's not a matter of toughness, it's a matter of practicality. The last thing we need is somebody coming up and digging up that question again and having to deal with it all over again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if I'm feeling okay, I don't mind parking elsewhere. I don't care. I'll leave those parking spots open because I don't need them at that point in time.
Yep.
If I need them, I need them, and I don't want to be questioned about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I've got better things to do than to talk to you about what I went through, physically.
So basically, yeah, don't assume. Um, if sometimes if we all minded our own business, we would get so much further in life.
Right. Um, now, people with okay, let me see here. Now we'll go on to one of the ridiculous ones.
We are entering the realm of the
Right,
ridiculous.
right. And you have down here that blind people know sign language.
You have no idea how many times I get this question. Now, let me just explain this.
Okay.
The eyes and the ears are two completely separate. When the eyes don't work, we can't see sign language. When the ears don't work, we need sign language.
And
People may be getting it mixed up with tactile sign language, which is a thing, but the thing about it is the vast majority of people don't know that tactile sign language exists. So while I try to give you guys the benefit of the doubt, I just can't.
I'll be honest with this one. You're right. This one's a little ridiculous to me. I've never seen somebody I've never seen somebody who has lack of sight and walked up to him and tried to give him sign language. I wouldn't think that was not that I know sign language anyway.
Well, if
It's
you did, you would be wasting your time and effort because we can't see you.
right. And I guess this is kind of one of those that would be like walking up to a deaf person and talking slowly.
Talking slowly and
Loudly.
as if that, or talking to somebody that doesn't speak English good and
Right.
speaking louder.
Yeah.
Like, no, that does not work. That does not work. Raising the volume of your voice does not enable them to understand you better. You speak more slowly and articulate your words better, unlike most Americans that like run our words together. And I'm in that camp too. I do the same damn thing.
Oh yeah.
But oh, and on that note, pro tip: as somebody with a hearing loss, speaking louder and especially in an echoey situation doesn't help me either.
Yeah. We've talked about it before that if I'm in a busy situation, I'm hearing everything. I'm hearing everything out of one ear, and it makes it very, very complicated.
Everything at the same time.
Yeah, you're hearing everything at the same time. You're hearing things that you don't want to hear.
Yep.
You're hearing conversations you don't want to hear, and it gets confusing, aggravating, all those things in one. And if you're sitting there yelling at me, that doesn't help. It does not make it any better.
Not helpful at all.
Daniel?
Yeah, and I'll throw on this too. We get all the time. Okay, where is such and such thing? Oh, it's over there, as they point.
Yep.
It's a thing, and it happens frequently. But again, pro tip here. A lot of people don't know how to give directions effectively based on a clock face. If you think about an old analog clock, 12 o'clock being directly in front of you, 6 behind, 3 to your right, 9 to your left. That is actually it's a much more intuitive way and a much simpler way to give directions, even for somebody who's not necessarily great with their left and rights. And we've learned that most people don't know their cardinal directions. Okay. The face of the clock will work if it needs to.
Well, it will work if you are oriented, because when I'm facing you, my 12 o'clock is actually your 6 o'clock.
That's true.
Now, other things that you can do, give directions in relation to a known object. So I finally trained my dad when he'd park, and he would try to give directions in relation to the way that I'm facing while I'm in the process of getting out of the vehicle. So I finally got him trained to give directions in relation to the way the vehicle is facing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So give directions in relation to a known object. Give directions and honestly, There is something to be said for just leading us to something. Not that we can't find it. Not that we're not independent, but simply to save both of us the awkwardness of messed up directions.
I think I think one way to put this for people who they may be able to understand this a little bit, okay? Have you ever been in a car where the passenger is trying to get you somewhere and they forget that they're guiding you? In other words, have you ever been in the car where I'm trying to give you directions and I just completely phase out that I'm supposed to be giving you directions? Because that's the way it usually goes. Okay, hey, Zach, can you show me where this is? Yeah, sure, let's go. 3 minutes into the trip, oh, damn, we were supposed to turn like a mile back that way. I'm sorry, I forgot I was taking you.
If you hit Mexico, you've gone too far.
Yep, there you go. That's exactly what this is like. If you're in a car and you're supposed to have somebody telling you where to go, and they're sitting there talking about something, like the burrito that they want to eat, and forget to tell you how to get to the burrito store, this is what it's like. Okay, so,
well,
but
and another one of my favorites is when people shout directions at me over other noise.
yeah,
I can't hear you. Do not do this. You are just adding to the cacophony.
again, that's just if you're adding noise to noise, all you're doing is creating confusion
You're just
Yep.
and
contributing
aggravation.
to the noise pollution problem.
Yep. And aggravation is really a good
Yep.
one with me. So, um,
Well, we are going to contribute some more to the noise pollution problem as we explore myth number 3.
people with disabilities are unable to do basic things.
Now, this, God grant me patience.
Daniel, did you just cringe when she said that?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Dan knows that I pray for patience on a daily basis because, well, God knows I don't need any more strength. That might be dangerous. So here's the thing about that. I have to constantly be reminded that most people have never actually interacted with a blind person.
Right.
And I have to constantly, tell myself, Lord forgive them, for they know not their own ignorance. But it's understandable. People, when you look at it, and when you look at it from other people's perspective, it's understandable because they're looking at how they themselves would do those things if they were to suddenly lose their vision. Now, let me explain how this works. If you suddenly lose your vision, you're going to go through a time where you probably will be unable to do basic things because, for one thing, you're traumatized, and for another, you're used to doing it. But then you're going to learn how to do those basic things as a blind person. We have alternative techniques that we use that we don't need our eyesight. And eventually you're going to be able to do life competently and confidently again. And that goes with other disabilities as well. Now, as a person with a disability, called amazing for doing basic things, it it can be frustrating, right? It can be really frustrating because it's like, I'm trying to apply for a job here, and you're saying I'm amazing for being able to tie my shoes. This is not where I want this conversation to go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a matter of, again, patience. It's a matter of understanding. It's a matter of I don't know, acceptance, tolerance, and all those other things. Dan, you talk for a while before I get myself in any more trouble.
Well, and I think there's a few critical things that come from this. One is we lose the ability to receive praise for the things that we do, which legitimately are amazing. And then also, when there's no confidence that we can do the basic things, it becomes inconceivable that we can do things that are, valuable to, say, an employer, or, in other, merit-based contexts. If somebody's amazed that we can tie our shoes, it's going to be pretty hard to convince them that we can, do computer programming, or